The economy is strange right now. They're saying it's one of the best, but the markets aren't showing that. And I know there's been a lot of layoffs. People are hesitant what to do. They're calling it the great hiring pause. And if you're a small business owner and you're stuck between, should I hire? Should I add more hours to my current people? What's going to happen with the economy? And you're looking for answers to those questions, you're going to want to check out our show today. Welcome to the Key Hire Small Business Podcast, where we cover the issues that help owners scale their small business. I'm Corey Harlock, creator of Key Hire Solutions, and I'm going to be your host today. Now, before we jump into the show, I've got a couple of exciting notes for you. We have been nominated for a Small Business Award. So through the Best of Small Business Awards, we have been nominated as the Best Business Consultant here in Houston. And we would love your support in helping us win that award by throwing us a vote. And there are a link to the website to give us a vote down below. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. It'll take you 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but we really would appreciate if you could throw us a vote and help us become the best business consultant in Houston, Texas. Secondly, we're doing this podcast for the small business owners and other consultants and people that are not the big Fortune 500s, and any support we can get is appreciated. And here are 3 ways you can help support us. Number 1, hit the subscribe or the follow button on whatever platform you're watching us on and just let us know, hey, I like what you do. I'm a regular listener and I want to let you know I'm supporting you. That would be amazing. Number 2, in the show notes right below the help us vote for the Best of Small Business Awards is a link, especially if you're on your handheld, that says text us your comments or show ideas. Let us know what you think of the show. Send us comments. Give us some support so we can keep doing this, or give us some ideas for new shows, because we're here to support you and we'll go find an expert. And then right below that, there's a connect with Corey on LinkedIn. You can click that, go right to LinkedIn and hit connect, and I will connect with you and just let me know, hey, I love the show. Leave a little note there. Love the show. Wanted to connect so I know where you came from, and I will definitely take that connection. All right. Enough of that. Our show, I think it was, Matt, was it 1 or 2 shows ago, we had Chris Dundee on talking about simple training. We got a lot of comments on that, and some of them I just wanted to give some shout outs here. So Mark S. said that integrating competency frameworks into performance management creates that consistent standard whilst identifying development pathways for each team member's growth and journey. Thanks, Mark, for the comment. I agree. It was amazing. I appreciate you reaching out. And then Ishida M. said that, short action-packed onboarding makes sense. Paperwork should be automated. I've seen onboarding time drop by days using different applications and APIs to automate KYC and ID checks. Ishida, agree 100%. If you haven't listened to or watched that episode on simple training with Chris Dundee, go back and watch it. I was thinking, man, training can be a little boring, but he was amazing. And there's some really, really good ideas in that episode. All right. So let's get into this, the great hiring pause. So what's going on in the great hiring pause? And tell me if you feel some of this stuff. So the current small businesses are experiencing urgent staffing needs, but they're also actively avoiding new hires. And why are they doing that? Because the economy, though everyone says is cranking, it's not being felt down in the small business, even the Fortune 500 world. There's been a lot of layoffs. There's a lot of people out on the market right now. And so it's kind of, we have this kind of false high. And as business owner, you might be walking that line of, I'm expecting it to slow down, so I don't want to hire, but we're a little busier than I thought. So I'm just going to stretch the current people I have and work them a little harder, give them a little extra, give them a little overtime, and see how that works out, which is tough. It's a tough, tightrope to walk. There are tons of jobs out there that are unfulfilled, and there's an increased hours for existing employees that we talked about. Rather than expanding the team, people are choosing to work people harder. There are 7.2 million job postings available out there, but only 5.2 million actual hires every month. So there's a deficit. There's still fewer people, kind of, than there are jobs. 88 to 90% of small businesses report that they can't find qualified candidates for their open position. And we're going to dive into that a little bit. Like, why is that phenomenon happening? Because people are getting very specialized and very niche. And sometimes it's hard to find that perfect person, or maybe we're squinting a little too hard to find that perfect person. And then there's economic uncertainty driving this whole wait and see mentality among business owners, right? What's going to happen? So we're stuck in analysis paralysis here. Well, we're working our current team maybe a little harder than we should, but we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're going into the holidays. Maybe you're thinking, well, they could use the extra money. Or you're thinking the holidays are a slow time and I don't know what January, February looks like. It's hard, right? So let's talk about some of the mistakes that you could make during this great hiring pause. Number one is the perfect candidate trap. And believe me, I work with small business owners, and the perfect candidate is very elusive. We're always looking for, let me back up. Small businesses are very specialized in what we do. I know warehouse and distribution companies that are just so specialized in what they distribute and re-wholesale. I know I have manufacturing clients that are so specific in what they manufacture. Professional services that are so dialed into that service, whether it's accounting or legal or whatever, or what area of accounting or what practice they have for law. And so they're looking for very, very specific people. 90% of businesses out there are claiming they cannot find a qualified candidate. And it's often not the candidate, it's the unrealistic expectations, which kind of rolls into another mistake you can make here, which is, creating a job description. That is, I don't like job descriptions. I haven't used job descriptions since 2014, and I'm not joking. People will say, Corey, can you send me a job description? I say, no, I don't have one. Because job descriptions often become what I call a wish list, meaning we just put everything we want on that wish list. And we don't force rank them, and we don't break it into the must-haves, the nice-to-haves, right? The three biggest hiring mistakes a business owner will make is not clearly defining the role. And when we do job descriptions, sometimes we just start thinking, well, yeah, if they could have this, that would be great. Oh, and someone will say, what if they could do this? Yeah, throw it on there. So we create this person that probably doesn't exist because we're kind of spreading them so thin into several different roles, right? Maybe the core of what they do is there, but they might leak into some other roles or departments. And then we don't force rank that. So we start treating these nice to haves as importantly as we would treat the must haves, right? So we're looking at a candidate who has all of the core experience we're looking for, and they're missing these kind of tertiary things that we may have thrown in. And because they don't have these kind of extras that are maybe beyond the scope of the role, we eliminate them because, well, they can't do this. We can't do that. And I will give you a great example of what that might look like. I once worked with a client and they called me and said, Corey, we have this new role we want to find. We need someone who can do safety and document control. And I thought to myself, well, Corey, that doesn't sound like a very common role. So I asked them, I said, let me ask you a question. You've had two people resign and you're thinking you can combine them into one role. And they said, yes, that's exactly what happened. And I said, great, this person doesn't exist. But what we need to do is now let's go into your organization and see if we can pull other roles together and clearly define them so we have alignment within the duties. And that's often what will happen, maybe not to that extreme, but when we create this job description, that perfect candidate becomes unattainable because we've thrown so many things in there, no one will have it, have all the experience we're looking for. And because we haven't force ranked or said, these are the 5 must-haves, and here are 3 or 4 nice-to-haves, and here are 2 to 3 wish list items, right? And then you rank those based on importance, and they have to have all 5 of the must-haves. And if they have 1 or 2 of the nice-to-haves, that would be great. So that perfect candidate trap is real. The second mistake you might make is you're overworking your existing staff as a solution to uncertainty. So we're asking our current employers to, hey, can you just, for the next week or two, next couple weeks, I know we need to hire, but we don't know what's going on with the economy, so we're just going to hold off for a few weeks. The hidden cost of this is significant. I used to run restaurants way back in the day, and over the holiday seasons when it was very busy, I was guilty of this. I would lean on my best people, and they would say, we're getting tired. I'm working a ton. And I would say, just hang in there, get through the holidays with me, please. And then when the holidays, and I remember this actually happened, at the end of the holidays, the new year, I kind of went to one of my key people and I was getting ready to sit them down and say, hey, thank you for everything you did. We're gonna really go hard on hiring here because I understand what you went through. And I sat them down and they said, hey, before you get started, I just want to give you this. And they handed in their resignation. And they said it was too much. I'm burnt out. I need some time off. I found this other job and I'm really excited about it. And that was it. I was done. I cooked my own goose because I leaned on my key people to the point where they thought I didn't care and they just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So be careful. If you have really good, skilled people that know your business, they understand your culture, you look at them and think, man, I wish I had more people like that. Treat them kindly and have conversations with them. Turnover costs a lot of money. A replacement for people, there are some conservative stats out there that are in the 30 to 150% range. But if you read Top Grading, they estimate it, depending on the role, the more senior the role, the more expensive it gets. And it could be 200 or 300% of that person's salary when you factor in lost time, missed opportunities, clients that we may not have serviced well and talk with their feet and go to the next place. It can really hurt a small business if you lose a super key person and you can't replace them, right? We're looking for that perfect candidate. We're overworking our really good people and we can't find that perfect candidate to fill them in. And oftentimes when you think about replacing or hiring, especially if someone walks, you have a 1 in 3 chance of, if they're one of your top employees, you have a 33% chance of hiring someone as good as them over time. So if you just do some simple math, there's a 33% chance. In fact, it's a 66% chance that you'll hire the wrong person because the statistics are you need to hire 3 times for a role to get a top performer in that role. That's just with the industry standard. So it's really 66% chance you're going to hire someone not as good and 33% chance you're going to hire someone as good and a 0% chance or a very small percentage that you're going to hire someone even better. Keep that in mind. That's how valuable these people are to you. So treat them kindly and just make sure they know what your plans are. You might still be able to get them to work, but just let them know, like, after Christmas, here's what we're doing. Here's our plan. But this overworking existing staff just for now until we see what happens with the economy. Well, the economy has been going crazy since March. We're into 8 months of this. And I don't know anyone who's making a call on what's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. So so we have perfect candidate trap, right? Creating a wish list and then weighing everything equally. We have the overworking of your existing people because you're in a wait and see mode. And then we have analysis paralysis. So this is where, we got some people, maybe we posted an ad and we've got some people. And I hear clients say this all the time. We'd like to see a few more people. Well, you put people through multiple rounds of interviews, you change the requirements, you talk to one person and think they're great, but they may not have everything on your wish list. There may be a great person who's checking a lot of boxes, but you don't know if they're going to be a culture fit. We hem and we haw. We look at their resume. We make a ton of assumptions based on a two-dimensional piece of paper. I know it's got 3 dimensions, but it's, a flat piece of paper. And we weigh these things and let me think about it. And well, do we have any more candidates? Let's look at 1 or 2 more. And by the time you get to it, the odds are the person you really wanted will be gone off the table, because if you like them, so will someone else. And as we mentioned, there's 7.5 million job postings out there and only 5.5 million people have been hired. So there's still vacancy out there and someone's going to snap them up. So go back to those 3 big hiring mistakes. Don't clearly define the role. We hire for current market needs, and we don't have a proven process to run people through that is efficient and exhaustive. When it comes to hiring, you should know it when you see it. You should not play the compare and contrast game. You should so clearly define that role that when the perfect person walks in and you're going down your scorecard and they get 80% or better, you go, yes, let's hire them. You should never be in a position where I don't know, let's talk to someone else. That is a strategy to hire the best of the worst people, because the best people will be snapped up off the market while you're analyzing and going back and forth and wanting to compare and contrast. Another mistake you can make is treating hiring as an expense versus an investment. And this goes back to the hiring mistakes, right? Clearly defining that role, hiring for future revenue, not current revenue, and having a bomb-proof hiring process that's both exhaustive and efficient. Hiring the best of the worst candidate is an expense. 100% an expense, because you create a revolving door, and every time someone works for 3 months and quits, you go back, everything comes back on your plate, your hours go up, your frustration goes up. The people that were working with them go back to working more hours. They're probably already working a bunch of hours because they're trying to train this person, and the cycle continues. If you hire the right person, you are making an investment in your company, especially when you hire for capacity. And I've talked about this a bit before. There's 2 people you can hire. You can hire someone for experience, or you can hire someone for potential. Hiring someone for potential, that's the young up and comer. You're hiring them because you think they can figure it out. That is, it's going to cost you less money up front because they will be cheaper in terms of salary or hourly wage, but your ROI is going to be very long tail. It's going to be 6, 9, 12 months before they are fully integrated and able to do their job, if they are able to step up and meet the requirements you're putting and meet the expectations you're putting on them. So your chance of them working out is less if your expectation is they're going to know how to do this right away. So if you hire someone on potential, the expectation has to be, we'll give them an annual review, and if they can check all the boxes in a year, then they're great. It shouldn't be after 3 months they know how to do a job that they really weren't qualified or have the experience for. So you get them cheaper, and the ROI is long tail. It's going to take you longer to realize their potential. When you hire for experience, it's going to cost you more money because experience has value. So it's going to cost you money, but your ROI on that individual should be short term. They should be able to get up to speed in 3 months and be impactful and making change. Within 3 months, they should have had an impact on your business. They should not still be learning your business, but they should have an impact. And so when you look at hiring on potential, that can be more of an expense because it more of an investment, let's say long-term investment, where, but if it doesn't work out, it definitely becomes an expense. If you hire on experience and it works out, this is a short-term investment. You're going to have a high return in a very short amount of time versus a limited return over a long period of time. So don't treat hiring as an expense, treat it as an investment. Make sure you don't create a wish list on your job description. Run them through an amazing process and be at least be 90% sure this is the person you need for this role. And don't fall into the perfect candidate trap where you're expecting them to know their role and bits and pieces of everyone else's role too. All right. And then the fifth mistake you might make is waiting for the perfect market conditions. We're going to hire when the market picks up, or we just got so much going on right now. Christmas is coming up and we got all these different things going on and it's year end and we have inventories and it's just not the right time to hire. It's never going to be the perfect time for you. Hiring should be a continuous thing. And if you need someone today, you should start looking for that person today. Hiring is it takes a minute. You know, when I talk to my clients, they're like, how quickly do you think you can have someone in place for us? And my answer is, well, if everything goes right, it's going to take us a week to 2 weeks to figure out what we're hiring for, to go through our due diligence and spend some time together and do an analysis on all of this. Then we got to get into the market, and it'll probably take us a week to 2 weeks to really start generating interviews. The interview process is about 2 weeks, so we're kind of up to anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks already. Let's say we hit someone within 6 weeks. Well, they're going to want to give 2 weeks notice because we want someone of high integrity, and we would never ask them to compromise their integrity. So they're going to want to give 2 weeks. So now we're at the quickest 8 weeks away from having anyone in seat. And it might happen faster than that, but it usually is much longer than that. So if you're thinking right now, man, yeah, we hope to have a new person here the first week of January, and you haven't started recruiting yet, you've already missed that. There's a week or two between Christmas and New Year's where you won't be able to contact anyone. If you haven't got all your stuff together yet, your opportunity to get someone in the first week of January, as we are here today, in the middle of November, it ain't going to happen. It could. The odds are not in your favor. So think of that. We need to be projecting out and saying, here's what this looks like. I know I need the person today, and I would rather do it right and have it take a little longer to maximize my probabilities of making the right hire versus hey, they look good enough, get them in. Everyone thinks, oh, we got the person. After a week or two, everyone's like, I don't think this is the person. They're all picking up extra duties. We're fixing mistakes. We're getting frustrated. Our expectation is high. The delivery is low. And then you either terminate them or they quit, and you're right back to square one, and you haven't helped your business at all. In fact, you've just put more stress on your good people. Okay, so what can we do to get back on track here? Let's do a bit of a reality check, and let's look at our pain points that are being caused by the understaffing, right? What is the true cost of that? Lost opportunities, how much overtime are we paying? Potential turnover, which we covered, right? When you overwork your best people and they don't feel like there's an end in sight, they will find the end themselves and they will look for relief. So look at those. This is a sales role. Let's talk about the clients that aren't getting touched, the accounts that no one's checking up on, the calls that aren't getting answered, or even worse, an inside salesperson who is woefully underqualified returning calls to your potential clients, right? So there are a lot of things we need to consider. And then let's break out and say, if we were to hire on potential, what tasks can we realistically give them? And is that enough relief? Or do we need to go out and find someone with experience to take on more and give relief to our existing people? And that's an interesting question to ask. Let's rewrite our job description and get away from the wish list mentality. Your job description, when it comes down to key pieces of experience they should have anywhere from 5 to 8 bullets on it, and that's it. Just get down to the core and look for those key pieces of experience that if they have that, then they will have all of this. And what I mean by that is a silly example, and it probably doesn't exist in your company, but your software. If someone is a super user in that software, that means they probably know how to run reports and create a dashboard and input data and do all kinds of cool stuff. So rather than having 10 points about in our software, can you update records? Can you enter new customers? Can you do this? Look for someone who has 10 years of experience in your software or in any software, and they can learn your software. Software is a teachable skill, but look for the key piece of experience that will cascade into all the little tiny things and highlight those. Talk about training. So if you don't have an established training program and you don't have time to set one up, do not hire people on potential. Pay the extra money and get experience and tell them right up front, we're busy, we don't have time to train, so we're expecting you to come in and kind of hit the ground running and ask me any questions you have. I'll get you to shadow someone here, but we don't have a formalized training program. Maybe that's something you can help us develop. But if you're going to hire on potential and you don't have any kind of training, don't expect success, right? We're not maximizing the probability of success. A key to being able to hire for potential and have success with it is to have a great standardized training program in the background. And go back and listen to Chris Dundee's episode because he'll show you exactly how to do that. And then you might want to do, there's something called a good enough standard. I wouldn't recommend this, but hire for a 70 to 80% fit. We like to use an 80% minimum fit, right? But that would be your potential again, right? So plan to train and develop those people. Good employees can grow with you, but if you're looking for a leadership role, if this is kind of an entry level individual contributor type role, we can hire on potential and get them some training. But if you're looking for leadership, I would always err on the side of experience. And remember, one of my favorite expression is, if you have a $10 million a year company, don't hire a manager to run your $10 million a year company. Hire a manager to run your $30 million a year company currently doing 10. And that's a great way to have a mind shift. So you start hiring for capacity and bringing in people that can help you implement process and procedures and things you need to grow. Number 4, streamline your hiring process. Your process should be both exhaustive and efficient. And by efficient, I mean, if it's an entry-level role, individual contributor role, associate level role, that hiring process does not need to be overbaked. It could be a quick phone screen. Do you have what we need? Yes, yes, yes. Come in and meet with us, spend an hour or two with them, ask the right questions. And by the time they leave, they should have an offer in their inbox, or you should be calling them that afternoon or first thing the next morning and making them an offer. Don't overthink it. Now, the more senior the role gets, the more involved the process needs to be. And what I will say is, your process from the first contact, so when you schedule the pre-screen, or from the pre-screen to an offer, on average, should be no more than 10 business days, 2 weeks, unless we're looking at like a VP president type role. But any leadership role, You should be able to get it done in 2 weeks. If you want to understand how to create that process, reach out to me, ping me and say, hey, Corey, I have an ebook here about how to create a hiring process called Hiring in the Key of C, and I can send it to you. And then also look at, the current market advantage. So act quickly on good candidates. We talked about it before. If you're interested in a candidate, so is someone else. So I don't want you to start thinking, well, the market's slow. There's lots of people. They need a job. If someone's looking for a job, they're looking for a job. And if we always say at Key Hire, whoever makes the first offer and the best offer wins every time. So if you're the first offer, but you lowball someone, and then a day later, someone comes in with the second offer and they're way above you, they're taking that offer. People don't negotiate anymore. They just either will ghost you or they'll say, hey, thanks, but I'm going to decline. And basically, if they ghost you or you get that email, what they've said is someone offered me more money. So don't this day of, well, let's throw it out there and see what they come back with. Generally, what they come back with is thanks, but no thanks. All right. So I think that is a pretty good list of things to do, right? Just don't get into panic hiring. Let's be strategic about this. At Key Hire, we always like to be strategic with our clients, and just hiring because that's low probability stuff. And it might work 1 in 10, 1 in 100, I don't know. But 10% hiring efficiency is not something you want to strive for. And it just costs you a ton of heartache. It'll give you a lot of heartburn. It's going to grind on your really good employees because they're going to get frustrated with a revolving door. And the probabilities of you knocking it out of the park are just slim, right? I've used this analogy before. I've hit tens of thousands of golf balls. Doesn't mean I'm ready to be a golf pro. It means I've hit a lot of golf balls wrong. Just because you're a business owner and you're out there hiring all the time, it doesn't mean you're great at hiring. Look at your track record. And if you sit down and if your turnover is more than 20 or 30% a year and your average tenure is less than a year, you're probably not doing a great job at hiring. You could probably do better. And if we just slow down, get real strategic about it, you can change that. And again, I will, if you want to message me directly, I'm not putting a link in the show notes, but if you want to reach out to me and say, hey, Corey, can you send me your ebook on how to hire? I will shoot it over to you. It's a comprehensive guide. It's our proprietary system that we use. It's called Hiring the Key of C. And it'll walk you through all this, how to be exhaustive and efficient in your hiring process. All right. I think it's enough on that. So a couple things. If you're still with us, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening. Let us know you're out there. Let us know you support the show. Send us a note. Let us know your thoughts or ideas, or ask me for my hiring guide. I will send it over to you. And connect with me on LinkedIn. Shoot me a note and say, hey, Corey, love the show. And I will connect back with you, and we can be connected on LinkedIn, and that would be cool. As Ted Lasso says, at least we both get to meet two cool people today. So thanks so much for tuning into the Key Hire Small Business Podcast. My name's Corey Harlock. I've been your host. And until next time, stop grinding, start growing.